Hello. Good evening, morning, noon, night, whatever time it is, depending on your time zone. Oh, and hi, Seal. I see you there. What's up, buddy? Yeah, so this is our first official stream, being a Twitch affiliate. Yeah. Here, let's go to chatting. Hey. Yeah, I did the I qualified, I did the application, and it all got approved. So yay, we are now Twitch affiliate status, which means you can start subscribing to my channel. You can, give bits and things like that. We'll have little emotes and all that stuff, which I will get all set up momentarily soon. So yeah, isn't that awesome? If I ever get around to doing karaoke, I want to sing one of these songs. These Silent Hill songs. There's a melody undefined, and with my sorrow. So yeah. But yeah, now that I got the affiliate announcement out of the way, welcome to the Saturday Chill Stream. I only see Seal though. Where the hell is everybody? Come on, get in here already. Anyways. Oh. Get our videos set up to chill too. Alright. Yeah, there we go. Oh, hang on. There we go. Well, ready or not, we're starting up. Sit back and enjoy. Let me know if the audio
Hello, everybody.
Welcome. Guys, we're going to be watching Ratatouille.
This is the second Ratatouille movie.
Pixar finally made a sequel. You know, they've been needing to make one for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, they lost all of their budget in a horrible marketing
Remio, there you
accident.
Are. Why the hell is
The
it
direct
my...
to Disney Plus.
Hang on, why isn't my voice thingy working? Hello, are you connected? Why isn't my voice text working? Okay. That's weird. Why isn't my... maybe I have to reconnect it. Hang on. Ah, there we go. I had to reconnect it. Okay, now this should be working. Alright. Sorry about that. Hey Remio, how do you feel better? Yeah, I feel a little bit better, yeah.
Sequel.
Ratatouille.
Oh my god, it's so loud for me for some reason. It also feels compressed like it's for the radio. That cow.
The cow looks milkable.
Is this not the English version? What's happening right
It's English dub.
Oh, okay.
It's the English dub.
You know all the good movies. They're free on YouTube.
All
Yep.
right, brother. We
Did
get
you
it.
see
People
the
made
new
this
video
for
from
some reason.
Did they?
I think we should start all our videos with the credits.
I know he has that new one out. I gotta make the reaction video to it. Don't worry, that's coming.
Of the three of us and just cycle it for like 20 minutes.
The Marvelous City.
Whoa!
Land of sun and heat.
Brazil?
The Marvelous City. Which city? The
Brazil?
city. The Marvelous City.
It's the one with Jesus.
Isn't that like Portugal or something?
This is Rio in Brazil.
It's also Solid Rock Church in Ohio that has the giant Jesus that looks like that.
Didn't that one get hit by lightning?
It burnt down and then they built a bigger one, which is that should have been a sign for the like a lightning struck it.
Let's make it taller and more susceptible to lightning.
Every single time the Jesus statue gets
Why
bigger
do I have
and bigger
channel
and
points?
bigger, and eventually it will be
Consume all.
the tall.
Well, because we're Twitch affiliate status now, we can start having subscribers and get bits, and you know, you can start using like emotes and stuff. Yeah, we're Twitch affiliate now, so you got channel points for participating.
Structure
Collect
in the world.
them.
It will encompass the earth.
With one of the most beautiful urban skylines in the world.
I can't even see that skyline.
It's a prosperous city, though, Jude. It's so
The
prosperous.
city of sun and heat.
You look how tall all the buildings are. You can tell the prosperity.
Yeah, look at that. Look at all those scrapers. Not skyscrapers.
Air scraper is they scrape the regular air at ground level.
Ground scraper. You know, a basement. Buildings that go like 200 stories down into the earth are just ground scrapers.
Ground scrapers.
Ratatouille.
Yes.
The candle that's...
Oh, the restaurant's called Ratatouille.
Oh,
It's famous and sophisticated.
It's not the dish. Okay, gotcha.
no, it's the restaurant.
You're thinking about the other movie called Ratatouille. That's like a rip-off of this one.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, we couldn't afford to see Ratatouille when I was a kid, so we saw that crappy knockoff Ratatouille.
We're about to meet our main character.
Whose name is Ratatouille? I don't know if you heard that.
No.
Sophisticated and refined rats. Chef Marcel Toing.
Marcel Toy, my bad.
Marcel Towing. Marcel Towing.
Wait, so you named your restaurant part of your last name and your species?
It's his full last name and then
That
Rata.
would be like me naming a restaurant Manna Howard.
Manna Howard sounds like it could be the name of something. I don't know what. I feel like I'd see Manna Howard on like a package of hot dogs or something. Like Manna Howard beef franks.
Manna Howard beef
Exotic
franks.
dishes. Always using special secret ingredients.
Worms?
Yeah.
Yum.
Special secret ingredients like poop from a butt.
Worms and peas.
Look, I was at a TGI Fridays. This is one of those kid story moments, and I was afraid of their dish that was like crushed up cookies and cream and worms because they called it dirt and worms, but it was like gummy worms. And I was like, they're gonna bring me real worms. I was little.
You were a stupid child.
No, this was actually like last week.
Look, I was 3 years old.
How do you remember this?
Because this was traumatic. Look, the guy went out back because he realized that I was afraid of that, and he dug up dirt and worms actually, and put it in a cup and put it on the table.
What the hell?
And so
How
I was
did he not get
looking at
fired?
Dirt and worms, and it freaked me out. And then he brought me out the real thing later, but still.
The dedication of that minimum wage worker is insane.
He was like, I'm gonna traumatize this child.
Right?
I must say that smells delicious.
Why is he so much louder than everything else?
That smells delicious.
VeggieTales mixing right now.
This is mixed as not as well as Phineas and Ferb season 5. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but it's not good.
I was told that it's awful by my wife, but I refuse to watch it.
Their food is always guaranteed to be delicious. We came from a great distance because everyone we heard from said the food is great at Ratatouille.
Did they use Google Translate to make the English dub? Like, you can't
I
really
O
criticize
chill.
the dialogue too much because it is being translated. But also,
they have
we can
no
still
chill.
criticize
That's
the
one reason
dialogue
why I
'cause
like
it's
them.
bad.
It's still really awful, and nobody like interpreted the idea. I think they just raw translated it through Google.
It's so nice of you to say so. I'll tell Marcel he loves compliments.
What is that lip syncing?
What do you mean
Do you
lip
get the
syncing?
reference?
They don't even
influence.
have lips.
I don't think any language looks like that when it's lip synced.
What was this animated in? That's my question. Was this animated in Blender?
I didn't realize that was a
Roblox, Creator
reference.
Studio, whatever it's called.
Yeah, for real.
Source SDK filmmaker. Now that would probably look better than this.
That would look infinitely better than this.
Okay, the question is, does Skibidi Toilet look better than this? Because Skibidi Toilet's made in Source Filmmaker.
I hate to admit it, but yes.
Yes, I'm gonna argue it does. In favor of Skibidi Toilet for the first time in my life. I think it looks better than this.
Credit where credit is due, as they say.
Indeed, this restaurant is very good, Maria Liche. You are absolutely right.
My question for whoever made this is like, have you ever seen a rat? Because none of these are rats.
Do you know the
These are
YouTuber
something else
Glocksmith?
entirely.
These just be
No,
creatures.
I do
They're
not.
clay mice from hell, and they have snouts, and I don't like this.
You mean you don't like it?
Take a closer look at that snout.
This movie has
Take a closer look at
500,000
that
views and
snout.
it was uploaded by Al, so, like,
Hopefully this video has more views than this movie.
Everything looks so good, it's hard to know what to get. But I think I'm going to order the mushroom and moss puree with orange sauce.
Oh my god.
Been talking for like 2 hours.
it's been 4 minutes and 1 second.
It felt like 2 hours.
Hello.
Whoa. Hi.
Hello.
Whoa.
You know how
Hello.
rats look like that?
With tan lines and all? Look, that's deeply disturbing on a couple levels. You know how when they
Yeah.
take clothes off mannequins in a store and you feel like you're getting flashed, but you're not, you know? Like, that's kind of
Yeah.
what this movie is giving. Yeah.
Precisely.
That guy always ends up ordering the same thing.
I'm glad you know the ordering habits of your clientele.
He sounds like those anime guys.
I'm glad you know the...
Glad you know the ordering habits of your clientele.
Yeah, he just sounds like a weeb.
I'm glad you know the
Wow,
ordering
Marcel,
habits of your
it looks like we'll set a
clientele.
new record today.
There's so many random
I know
keyframes
exactly what he's
happening.
talking about.
Also, there's just stuff happening in every frame. It's hard to keep track.
Well, he didn't exactly mix them.
Ladies, do you have to be so critical?
Burger.
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 Out of the soup?
Burger.
He made a hamburger out of soup.
Burger. Why is the burger so normal looking?
Soup.
I want to know where you get
Okay,
little,
hamburger
little
soup?
tiny buns. Are these the buns from the SpongeBob?
Burger.
It's like the gummy patties, yeah.
It's not healthy for you.
Have a heart, dear. Let the boy have what he wants.
Yes, Daddy, I love cheddar.
Yes, Daddy, I love cheddar.
Everybody in the comments type, yes, Daddy, I love cheddar.
Yeah, I love cheddar.
sometimes use strong language.
Yes, Daddy, I love cheddar.
Yes, Daddy, I love cheddar.
Yes, Daddy, I love cheddar.
Yeah, Johnny, I love
I
cheddar.
just want to tell you something.
So I'm really lost on what's the plot right now. It's just
Yeah.
people eating.
Rat
Can we get on with
make
the plot?
food.
There's
Please.
a restaurant, and the restaurant makes good food, and they have secret rare ingredients.
So basically, right,
I'm a monkey.
I'm a rat.
We're not in any hurry. I don't mind waiting as long as necessary.
No.
This movie gives me a headache.
He's so loud. I'm gonna have to turn this down, actually. I've turned this down, like, I normally keep the stream volume at like 70%, and I have it at 40 right now, because I just can't.
On Thursday night.
Damn.
That's right.
Oh, Marcel.
Why is she hitting the Fortnite like lobby pose?
Why is she
Created
jutting
this,
that hip
decided
out?
to make this specific rat just hot for no reason. Like, I'm sorry, hot.
I was about to
Right.
say, you need to clarify what you mean by hot.
overly sexualized. How about that?
Sexualized
There you
rat.
go.
Yeah, sexualized rat.
Wow, that was really fast.
A plate of nothing?
You should be proud. I've never eaten such a fine meal.
I seriously feel like this movie is just happening. Like, there's not.
Do you know what this feels like?
Huh.
Do you remember that live stream of the AI SpongeBob?
Kind of, yeah.
That's what this feels like.
Where they're just talking and that's it, and there's no meaning to anything. Yeah,
Hey, Patrick, I was thinking about trying we.
That's what this feels like.
we're a quarter.
Oh,
of the way into
those,
this
yeah.
movie.
We sure are.
This guy is just driving me crazy.
The dishes are prepared with the secret ingredient of a lot of dedication and care.
If you haven't gathered yet, Jude, those 4 fancy rats over there are rival restaurant owners.
Oh, no, I didn't gather that.
Because there's no way to tell unless you've seen this before. They're trying to get his secret ingredients so that they can put him out of business and further their own restaurant goals.
So this is SpongeBob in the worst told way possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, Greg, it's time.
This just screams of the quality that ILM provides in movies.
Why are you hating on ILM?
I love ILM. I'm saying this is on their level.
Well, yeah, look at those reflections. Those aren't cheap.
That was like the cover of Mario Kart Wii for a second. That was nice. Wow! They missed.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
I'm sorry.
I wanted to fling off and get splatted.
Imagine walking into your kitchen and there's just a rat attached to your freaking ceiling fan.
With little spy glasses on.
That'd be awesome.
The gray box.
Me when I walk into the cube.
They just steal everything fresh from a human restaurant. Now we have their secret.
Yeah, what have you been doing? Growing a farm?
Right?
Oh, they eat out of the trash because they're rats, dude.
Oh, Lord.
I think I had to go to the store. But which store? No, that's not it, because there's no store open today.
God, Thursday, famously no stores
What?
open. What? Why do you just have that ready to go?
What fish? Don't worry about it. It's important to me. Fish.
Fresh strawberries. They were so bright in color, not like the ones we have to settle for from the garbage can.
Oh my God. There's like 5-minute
Oh my
segments
gosh.
of just cinema separated by whatever this is.
Well, they have to talk about what happened so you know what happened.
Hello?
Hi! Sorry, a little quiet, you know. Yeah, my bad.
What is happening?
If any of you out there are trying to write a movie, watch this one. Study what they do with their characters. It's so well done. There's a kick line and everything. Movies
are
need to
they
bring back
doing?
kick lines. Although we aren't seeing them kick. That's kind of on the cinematographer.
After the confusion, everything eventually settled
Yeah,
back
that
to
was
normal once-
confusion,
Hello,
all
the
right.
narrator, apparently.
There's a narrator?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Oh my God, is that a mouse trap? I love the perfectly cubular cheese.
Cubular. I love cubular.
Also, who puts
Cubular.
out 97 mouse traps all in the middle of the floor in varying angles?
Oh no!
I
What
mean-
do I do?
I mean, they do make cube cheese, so maybe that's what they're using. What was that? Is that chocolate?
Oh no, it's the cat.
It's the cat.
Hey, friend, that's your cat, right? That's Lulu.
Yeah, she runs just like that.
This situation is totally unacceptable.
This situation is totally unacceptable. This is such a real line. That's how people talk. This situation is totally unacceptable. Oh, I don't know why I went for Fred Durst for a second.
We just know the rats we're dealing
Yeah.
with.
Tell me what you want to do now.
How are they gonna resolve this plot in the next like 5 minutes?
What is there to resolve?
The kitchen is laden with traps now, so they can't get their secret ingredients.
Walk around them like you just did.
There's a cat.
We'll think of some way to deal with it.
I just got an ad for a McDonald's cheeseburger, and the first comment I saw was "Nice try, McDiddy."
What are you doing?
Oh my
An Instagram
gosh.
notification, and then I was just greeted by "Nice try, McDiddy."
Oh my
Every time I eat
gosh.
McDonald's, I instantly just poop in a painful way, and I don't know. It's awesome.
Why are
Oh.
you calling the cat? You're nuts.
Calm down, my friend. I have everything under control.
You have cheese at your restaurant.
It's not the secret ingredient cheese, though.
I am gonna.
You're right.
I'm gonna make you a secret ingredient. There you go.
Let's go.
Is
Look at that
Jerry
heckin'
from
stance,
Tom and
man.
Jerry?
Come on, don't wait, move it.
I love the texture of whatever this is behind him that's making me want to throw up.
It looks like static, but it's the countertop.
It's marble. It's like when my parents painted a regular countertop and tried to pass it off as marble.
Wow. Bonk.
Calm down.
I'm just enamored by the cinema on display. What's that blue light in this scene?
That's his underglow.
Oh, we got ourselves a nodder.
That's it, my big friend. Grab these two and take them to your boss and see how proud
Where do we grab these two and take
Where
them
do
away?
we?
You have me to thank for it.
When I saw that big cat behind us, I almost fainted. What deal do you have with that?
They didn't want to show the cat brutally murdering those two rats.
I wanted to see that. I wanted to see everybody die violently.
Would have made this whole thing worth it.
It switches animation style to like this hyper realistic display of rats getting absolutely mauled.
I said almost everything, didn't I?
Oh, look, the cat's here.
Hi!
How did you fit in here?
He didn't. Look at him.
Prepared your salmon with Roquefort cheese.
I love the blurry tablecloth texture. That's getting me weak. It's just
Well, everything else is blurry. It fits in.
it's not even attempting to be the same resolution as the movie.
Precisely. Why? What was the point of that?
Okay, so really quick, we've made a couple movies about mice, and it's this and Ratatouille.
Yeah.
So quick tier list: Ratatouille, F for sure.
Ratatouille.
S tier.
C.
Oh, I think we'll settle on B.
I think it could have been longer. Like, I didn't see enough white voice.
I think
Yeah.
that fat green rat
was-
should have said precisely about 17 more times.
I think one more thing I would have done is added Jack Black to the movie.
He should have been the cat.
I think he should have been the cat and then sang a song on the piano in the middle of the movie. Have a day.
No.
Folks, today we are doing another beautiful.
No, we're not, because I already, or I'm saving you for work. Daniel Thrasher. He's a good YouTuber, you need to watch him. Here we go, Ink Ribbon.
Ink Ribbon.
So you remember when we watched those, Resident Evil short films, and The Keeper was, one of the ones that Residents of Evil did. It was really awesome. You know, Ink Ribbon has, facts about The Keeper's Diary video, so here we go.
If you're a Resident Evil fan, then you've most likely heard some very strong opinions on any live-action Resident Evil project. Along with these, you've probably heard the phrase, "I bet fans could make a better movie than this." Well, my buddy Andy from Biohazard Declassified did exactly that, and I loved it so much I decided to do a video detailing some extra information behind the fan film. If you haven't seen it for yourself, you can pause this video and click the link in the description and watch it for yourself for free.
Please go watch it, it's
Afterward, you
awesome.
can come back here if you want to know more about it. And with all that out of the way, from bringing back multiple Chris's to fan service Easter eggs, here are 25 facts about the
Multiple
Keeper's Diary.
Chris's? I only remember seeing the one.
If you don't know what this is in reference to, The Keeper's Diary is a Resident Evil fan film that depicts the events of the
What is
infamous
it
file
called?
that you find in the first Resident Evil game.
That
It was directed by
Keeper's
Andrew
Diary.
Saulo, who also did another short called Resident Evil Resurrection. Andy Cox, who is the producer, may be known for his content focusing on video games, but he actually has a degree in television production and had a very strong passion for bringing our favorite survival horror game to the big screen faithfully. The film raised money through a crowdfunding campaign and is the most funded Resident Evil fan project to date, raising over $55,000 by over 700 backers, which exceeded the funding amount by over $10,000.
Wow.
Charlie Kraslovsky, who played
Yay!
Chris Redfield in the original game's FMV cutscenes, appears in this film as the Keeper. The Keeper narrates throughout the film, but is actually voiced by Joe White, who was the voice actor for Chris Redfield in Resident Evil 1 Remake.
One of the higher-ups assigned me to take care of a new creature.
Yet another voice actor returning is Ward Sexton, who provided the voice of the title cards for the first Resident Evil and Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil. Resident Evil.
Cool.
He also provided the title voice for this film's title card.
The Keeper's Diary. A biohazard story.
The F-shaped hallway leading to the room where you find the Keeper's Diary was completely recreated as a set.
Cool.
There are also a few areas that do not appear in the game, including sections of the lab, a dog kennel, and an infirmary. Pablo Kuntz, who was Wesker in the original game, reprises his role.
Commence with the procedure.
Oh, that's why it sounded so much like
The
him.
Keeper's Diary was shot within a week of
Was his
filming,
original
with
voice
the crew
actor.
undertaking 20-hour days to get it finished in time. From crowdfunding start to completion, The Keeper's Diary took less than a year to make. This is the first live-action depiction of a hunter in any Resident Evil film project.
Cool.
Real animals were used in the film, including both the Dobermans for the dogs and pigs for the scene with the hunter.
Piggy, piggy.
All weapons in the film are real weapons that are featured in the game, including the Samurai Edge, the Winchester Trench Gun, and the Remington M870. The Keeper's Diary was shot in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, with the kennel scenes in the Lower Peninsula. There are several Easter eggs throughout the film for fans of the series, including Safspring and Aquacure being featured as medications, which appear in the third Resident Evil game.
Mm-hmm.
In one scene, some music from the band Queen is heard playing.
Queen,
There's also
yeah.
a Queen poster at one point. This is all a reference to the Let Me Live and Made in Heaven insignias that appear on both Chris and Claire Redfield's outfits throughout the game. The Keeper's pose with the lighter is a nod to Chris's pose with the lighter, which is the same shot from the original game.
Hey!
This is the first time the guardhouse has been depicted in live action.
Oh.
This is also the first time Resident Evil creators have collaborated on a project of this scale, including several online content creators, original actors, and more. There's a bonus scene after the credits showing a maintenance man cleaning up a bloody window, providing a cameo from someone a few of you may recognize. We also get to see a small teaser of a scene showing Regina from Dino Crisis, which may be hinting at their next fan film project. During the poker game, you can spot the Excite 1998 poster from the original game, which also implies that this scene takes place in the researcher's private room. User reviews have been overwhelmingly positive, with the general consensus that it's a shining example of what fans wanted. If that leads to further projects, well, that remains to be seen. I'm so proud of Andy as well as Andrew Salvo, Rose Squad, and the rest of the cast and crew. And as a Resident Evil fan, I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing more in the future. And again, if you want to watch it, it's available on the ROE channel for free, and the link is in the description. I'd love to hear what you guys thought about it. For me, I was especially excited to see the Hunter. Even though I hate dealing with them in the games, something about seeing it come to life was really special. But I'll end this here and remind you to drink water and pet your pets. Until next time, I'm Kai Morgan,
it's
and
the
as
last
always,
season
thanks for
on
watching
Netflix.
I didn't even know there was a season 3.
Check. She's got it. Ooh, Miss Redfield, you're something special. Ooh, Miss Redfield with that pony over here. Ooh, Miss Redfield.
I think that's an original song by him because Leon and Claire are like his two Resident Evil crushes. So I think that's an original song by him. Ooh. Oh, this is an interesting one.
Hello,
Are
YouTube.
we
My
getting
name
a
is
spooky
Cybersand, and
Sunday
there's something
stream?
Very intriguing.
Yeah, of course we are.
About lost media and rotting things. I don't know the exact feeling it makes me feel. It's a mix between intrigue and disgust. Morbid curiosity. Yeah, that's it. Today I wanted to talk about the Mexia supermarket disaster and its lost media. Now, this is a wild ride of a lost media case, so make sure you buckle up, grab your barf bags, because it's about to be sneaky nasty time. So this is probably my favorite piece of lost media right now.
I am on
GPK,
stand for
and
by
it's-
bad
well, It's
messages.
technically partially lost media. It's basically a lost VHS recording of the rotting inside of a Fort Worth supermarket called Mexia that was abandoned in 1999 with all the food left in it and the power shut off. There are fragments of this footage out there, and that's what you're seeing right now. All of the known found footage and images will be posted at the very end of this video, so make sure you stick around to see that. Now, I've been looking for this lost media or anything that can take me close to this lost media, and it is driving me crazy.
I can't do it. I can't do it, Squidward. What? Every sentence, every paragraph, sponge, brown, salt, pepper. Don't you understand? My brain is full of I have to
It seems like there is a physical tape out there that exists somewhere, and I'm going to get my hands on it and I'm going to digitize it. There's just something so intriguing about it. The footage and the building itself. I almost went to the actual location, which is now a Dollar General, just for the sake of this video, and I'm still considering doing so in a follow-up video if I can make progress on this search.
No.
Hopefully I can go to the Dollar
It
General
just has
before
the same
closes. Now, for those who don't know the full story of the search, hopefully I can go to the Dollar
The Dollar General that took over the former Mexia supermarket is apparently closing. They have a chance to do the funniest thing. Yes.
Dollar General before it closes. Now, for those who don't know the full story of the 1999 Mexia supermarket cleanup disaster, biohazard...
Well, at the moment, Weird Al has a clean
face.
face.
This is a prime example of urban neglect and a total failure of public health. And also, before I get into this situation, there is a really, really dark fact that I want to add into this. Before this supermarket was the Mexia supermarket, it was a Danels supermarket. And on May 29th, 1994, the 18-year-old manager of the Danels, Eduardo Lopez, was held up at gunpoint, shot in the head, and had his body stuffed in a freezer. And to this very day, 31 years later, it is a cold case. That's not really important to the story.
Oh my gosh,
of the cleanup,
I never
but
knew that part.
I'm just putting that in there so you know how much of a dark history that this building has. So sometime after October 1997, this company called Advance Investment Corp bought the Danels at 3900 Hemphill Street in Fort Worth, Texas, and turned it into the Mexia supermarket. They took out a $975,000 loan from Commercia Bank, Texas. And the store opened around October 5th, 1998. Now, despite the initial investment and community need for the supermarket struggled financially, and they accrued about $1.14 million in debt to various creditors by mid-1999. Consequently, the owners began defaulting on their payments in June 1999, leading to the store's closure that same year. That's why I won't start a brick-and-mortar business. I am terrified of ending up in that much debt. Apparently, after the store closed, the owners left the country and went back to Laos, where they were originally from. And they left the store fully stocked with perishable goods. Complete abandonment. And the building remained abandoned for over 3 months. Obviously, we can get a pretty good idea of what happens to a grocery store when it's left without power for a while and it's fully stocked of goods. Now, if you do some digging, some sources will give you different dates and times of when things actually happened. Like, it's totally unclear when the supermarket actually opened, but October 5th, 1998 seems to be the date because that was the first taxable date for sales taxes. There's also some discrepancy with the time that the electricity got shut off. It seems to be October 18th, 1999, because when they filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, that's the date the attorney and Sorcerer Supreme Stephen Strange gave. Yes, his name is actually Stephen Strange.
Whoa.
However, other sources like Brian Borner, who was the Fort Worth's director of environmental management, said it was without power for 60 to 90 days because the owners shut off power when they abandoned it. So up until November 13th, this building sat rotting. And apparently during this time, there were reports of people breaking in and stealing things like canned goods. And this falls into the lost media category. There is footage of people breaking into it, which is kind of crazy. Breaking into a rotting supermarket. Now I'm going to read you some of the super nasty details of the
you gotta
inspection
get some of the
and
stuff that's still
taken
good, I
from
guess.
The, Lost Media
Like the
wiki
canned
page.
goods.
In the hours
Those will
following
last.
the loss of refrigeration, meat and fish soon spoiled as Pseudomonas and lactic acid bacteria multiplied, causing swift decomposition. Meanwhile, fruits and vegetables started emitting ethylene, a hormone that resulted in them over-ripening and thus began rotting. The smell of rotting produce and meat attracted numerous insects and rodents, including fruit flies, bowflies, cockroaches, and rats. All these species quickly consume the
What is
spoiled
your
products, which in
favorite
turn
Weird
allowed
Al
the pests
song?
to breed regularly.
I don't know, I'm not
soon
really good
ended
at
up and
ranking
multiplied
things. He just
inside
has
the
a
milk
lot of good
containers,
songs.
which caused the milk inside to turn sour. Butter swiftly melted following a rise in temperature. The building became so toxic that deadly gases enveloped the vicinity, considerably depleting the available oxygen within. By October 20th, residents began complaining of a growing stench sourced with Mexico.
My favorite
One individual
song is
reported
Tacky.
experiencing headaches as he
That's a good
traveled
one,
on a
yeah.
nearby street. Another claimed she was unable to operate her home's air conditioning as it would attract the ever-worsening smell, which further spread across Hemphill Street during strong winds. A week following the initial complaints, Fort Worth officials started its investigation, attempting to find the owners and contacting Commercia Bank to request its plans for the store's cleanup. Commercia responded that it had contacted A-plus budget movers to resolve the situation, which supposedly would have commenced on November 2nd. However, A-plus budget movers backed out of the deal when it became obvious that the stricken Mexia supermarket was well beyond its level of expertise. Commercia refused to deal with the cleanup directly, insisting that it was not Mexia's legal owner. A month beforehand, it requested a foreclosure option during the bankruptcy case. In the weeks following its closure, Mexia had suffered massive and very noticeable deterioration. Subsequently, the Fort Worth Health Department had no choice but to declare the supermarket as a health hazard. More than a week following A-plus budget movers aborted cleanup, Fort Worth Department of Environmental Management officials, including Borner and Jimmy McClurg, assessed the store. Already, they knew that something horrific was waiting for them, based on the stench and hordes of roaches enveloping the store's windows and rats running all over the place. Flies had produced eggs that hatched into maggots. By this point, countless insects, dead and alive, were present across the store. Workers reported that such was the volume of flies covering all areas of Mexia that they could no longer see their hands as they explored the building. Their air filtering mask prevented a clear indication of the deadly stench inside. Aware of Mexia's clear risk to health, a few safety measures were put in place to ensure workers' safety. Starting on the 13th, extensive pesticides were utilized to eliminate a majority of pests and diseases within. Mexia's entrances were barricaded to prevent rodents from either entering or escaping the property. The presence of rats also put burning the building out of the question, as it would trigger them to invade any nearby community. Any workers who entered donned air filtering masks, hazmat suits, and oxygen tanks. Upon the building's detoxification, all workers would be decontaminated before they were allowed to safely exit. Garner Environmental Services was assigned to conduct the building's cleanup. It was hoped the cleanup of food would commence on November 15th, Monday, but a mandatory inspection of air samples necessitated a delay. This was mostly out of caution due to the large amounts of chemicals used during the past weekend for the extermination. A day later, Garner's contractors entered the property. Every aisle of Mexia revealed its biohazardous nature, evidence of the hundreds of rats that had infested the building, which had consumed the rotting produce before focusing on dried goods. This allowed them to breed and produce store-wide excrement. Todd Johnson, formerly of Garner Environmental, said, in correspondence with Lost Media wiki user Benjamin McHale, "It was one of the worst-smelling projects in my history. When rats die from the bacteria, you truly understand that's a bad atmosphere and lethal for the workers." Oh, when rats die from the bacteria? Those dudes were born in the bacteria, molded by it. And it killed them? Aside from decomposing, fruit and vegetables also showed areas where they had been gnawed through by rats. The extent of lactic acid and other gases caused milk containers to rupture and explode.
I have made
Packaged
a seaman.
meat either was seemingly untouched or was covered in a grayish black
see that. You
goo.
released another
Every aisle
creature.
reviewed new disturbing revelations for the investigators. Borner later stated in the 16th November 1999 issue of Fort Worth Star-Telegram, "I've been in this business for 14 years. This is the first time I've ever heard of this. You think of what has been in there for 90 days. Produce, dairy, meats, it's kind of hard to comprehend. The only consolation appeared to be that no beef was languishing within the freezers, meaning only packaged meat was still present in the supermarket. Workers cleared out some of the products by hand, while the usage of shovels and front-end loaders removed the majority of the rotting foods. Workers
I have played
prioritized
this
the
games
removal of
before.
meats before clearing out expired dairy and produce the following day. The food ended up in hazardous material bags before being transferred by front-end loaders to sealed bins, which then ended up in landfills. When the waste arrived at the landfill, there were delays as workers at the facility had to cover it up to contain the smell. That is supremely disgusting. So one of the guys that went in there, Jimmy McClurg, videotaped part of the cleanup process on a home VHS recorder. Sadly, Jimmy McClurg has since passed away, and the original tape might be damaged or just lost. And so far, the only part of the footage, and the footage that I've shown you and I'm going to show you in this video, have been found thanks to a 2010 episode of Life After People where they basically used Mexia as a case study. Somehow the production team got a hold of these tapes. Also in 2010, it really wasn't prevalent as Lost Media, just nobody really knew about it until after then. Now, there is a Lost Media wiki user named Benjamin McHale who examined the credits of this episode and contacted the sources that were there. Benjamin McHale did a lot of heavy lifting for this, and he contacted just about every single person he could contact. People involved with news coverage, the waste management team, people involved with the TV show Life After People. What you see on screen right now are Benjamin's emails to some of those people. I'll read one of them for you. "I'm looking for any segments related to the Mexia supermarket in Fort Worth. In 1999, the owners couldn't pay and abandoned the property, leaving the food to rot inside for months. A cleanup crew in the hazmat suits was called to take care of the mess. This broadcast would likely be from November. Good morning, Benjamin. Thanks so much for your inquiry. I was able to locate the following in one of the logbooks for November 16th, 1999. But unfortunately, we do not have the corresponding footage digitized and are no longer able to digitize the footage on demand for patrons." He sent another email to Anthony Williams, and Anthony Williams said, "I was an air quality investigator during that time period and remember the incident. Jimmy McClurg was one of our more storied colleagues and enjoyed spinning yarns regularly, so we all got to hear about his dealings in the Mexia Mart situation. Unfortunately, he has since passed and we do miss him. I also remember the Life After People series and did watch all the episodes when it first aired. It was extremely fascinating and interesting to see our footage shown on such a production. Since that time, we've undergone quite a few changes to our department, having been combined with TPW, seeing Mr. McClurg retire and leave the city, then being moved as an entire division over to code compliance. Somewhere in the mix of all that, the videos taken by Jimmy McClurg must have gotten lost. I'm sure they are out there somewhere, but unfortunately, I and my colleagues are not able to find them on our servers. Thank you again for your interest. Here's his email to Brian Borner. Hello, I saw you were on the episode The Last Supper of the show Life After People, which shows some footage of the abandoned Mexia supermarket. What a situation to deal with. Do you know where the full footage is, and could it be uploaded online? Some people online are interested in it. I emailed the current supervisor of the environmental management of Fort Worth, Anthony Williams. He and his staff looked and said he couldn't find it. Perhaps some former workers such as yourself may know. He said someone named Jimmy McClurg, who has since passed, may have been the one to have done the recording. And Brian Borner said, Benjamin, unfortunately, I don't think the original footage still exists. It was originally taken on a home VHS format and had degraded significantly by the time we were able to cut portions out for the LAP folks to use. Additionally, it has been more than 10 years since I have been associated with the city of Fort Worth, and unfortunately, I have not had any control over the records retention since my departure. If they cannot find it, then it probably does not exist. There are a lot more emails that go to this, but as you might have noticed, a lot of people have different ideas of what could have happened to this tape. Some think that it's entirely destroyed, there's nothing left of it. Some are convinced that it's out there, and some explicitly do not say that they don't have it. But sadly, there's nothing that gets us close enough to the tapes. In my efforts of searching, I only came across the exact same things that Mikhail and everybody else came across, and I have no new information. But there are two routes that I can go to get my hands on this tape. McClurg's family can be contacted, but that is...
After recording this, I learned from there's a Mexia Discord that they were already contacted, but to no avail.
Such a shot in the dark, because I'm pretty sure the producers of Life After People had the original footage and it's currently damaged, and I don't think his family was contacted, and if I contact them, I have to do it ethically and carefully and respectfully. The other route that I could take, that I'm much more willing to take, is actually going to Fort Worth, Texas, and going to the physical locations of the UNT Media Library or the Department of Waste Management in Fort Worth to see if they have the actual tapes. Personally, I think it is likely that these tapes do exist. They're probably somewhere. I've contacted some of the same people that Mikhail did, and I'm waiting on replies. I also emailed UNT Special Collections, and I emailed their library director. Mikhail had previously emailed them, which we just talked about, but UNT Special Collections didn't say they didn't have the tapes. They said they haven't been digitized, and they can't digitize them upon request. I have the equipment to digitize the tapes, and I would be more than happy to make the 5-hour drive to go digitize it with my own equipment. I've contacted a bunch of these people with my proposition that I can come and digitize the tapes and they wouldn't have to lift a finger. Now, if anybody has any leads to the whereabouts of these tapes, hit me up on my Discord. The link is in the description. You can join my server and share your information there. And if you can't get a hold of me on Discord, feel free to just leave a comment, and I always go through my comments. I am willing to go and digitize these tapes if I can find out where they are. I will do everything in my power to get these tapes digitized if I can find them. Now, as promised, here are the images of the cleanup followed by the footage. You can see with these images, they're really disgusting. You can just pause the video to look at these images. There's really no point in me holding them on the screen forever. It's really genuinely nasty stuff, like the flies in the windows. It's pretty awful. And now here's the footage. There's going to be no audio in the footage. I think the audio that was attached to this footage is copyrighted. So enjoy your next few minutes of silence, and maybe I'll put some creepy music over it.
Oh yeah, have some liminal space, abandoned property, creepy music, you know, nightmare fuel. Oh, that's disgusting. So basically, this is the little bit of footage that we do have. He's looking for the entire...
Kill it with fire right now.
Yeah, he's looking for the whole thing in its entirety. Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, they did consider... Remember, he said they did consider just burning the thing down, but they didn't want any of the critters to just get smoked out and run to other places. Ew.
But anyways, I figured I'd talk about this and share it. Normally when word gets around enough with Lost Media, there's always somebody that comes out of the woodwork and is like,
the
gotcha.
milk is
and
off.
It gets found at one point or another, unless it's JPK. But all right, guys, have a good day. Love y'all. Bye.
The all-new...
Hold on a minute. Hold on.
Hello, YouTube. My name is...
Hang on. I want to like his video, and then we can move on. Alright. Lost Media found in 2025. Sourceberry. That's the new video. Or the next video.
The all-new Jeopardy pilot. Obviously, Jeopardy needs no introduction, being one of, if not the most popular game show ever to have aired,
Jeopardy!
and still ongoing today, since 1964, with well over 9,000 episodes being filmed. However, the show briefly concluded in 1974, before coming back to the air in 1978, under a different production company and a new name, the all-new Jeopardy! Debuting on NBC in October of that year
is a Family
and hosted by
Feud
Art Fleming,
knockoff.
the show only ran for less than a year and about 100 episodes before ending in March of 1979. Eventually, though, the original series was brought back and has since become a mainstay in terms of American game shows. But this relatively short-lived revival had an unused and unaired pilot which was filmed back in 1977, a year prior to the first episode's debut broadcast. This was a pitch pilot which was shown to CBS and was ultimately passed on, hence why it would later air on NBC. The pilot was quite a bit different in terms of format from the one that would be publicly shown a year later. It more closely resembled the original series set but had different rules. For example, the game would start with contestants having 30 seconds to gather money to start with from the board before starting the actual first round, with contestants picking from the clues. Because this pilot was unsold and never aired, it became lost media and wasn't seen for almost 50 years, until finally, in March of 2025, a guy named Adam Nedev posted the entire pilot episode to his Facebook account.
Whoa.
DXP. Children's and Cartoon Networks are known for having quite a few short-lived and sometimes obscure blocks, which aired on their channels, sometimes late at night and in the early morning hours, when most people weren't awake to see them, and have since fallen into obscure media territory, or are simply now just foggy childhood memories. One of these such blocks was called DXP, and
Mario
aired from
the
July
Old
to
Games.
November 2017 on Disney XD from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. DXP marketed itself as a gamer program, containing various game-related pieces of media, such as airings of Wreck-It Ralph, Smash Bros. And Street Fighter V tournaments, Let's Plays done by a guy named Parker Plays, and even speedruns. Most of this content ended up becoming lost or obscure over the years after they ceased airing it when the block ended. However, as time went on, the lost media community slowly started to accumulate more and more episodes that were aired, including missing ESL Speedrunner episodes, Parker Plays, and more. And in February of 2025, the rest of Polaris Player Select was found, a series of clips from high-profile gaming YouTubers such as Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, making the entire block found, including everything that aired as far as we know. The Jaleel White Special.
Jaleel White Special?
Jaleel White, famous for, of course, his portrayal of Steve Urkel in the ABC sitcom Family Matters,
My
wanted
favorite
to showcase more of his
YouTubers.
range as an actor and comedian, and so devised a one-time primetime TV special, which would end up airing on ABC in February of 1992, simply titled The Jaleel White Special. It's honestly pretty shocking that this was even lost at all, given it aired during the peak of Family Matters' popularity, which was one of the most popular sitcoms of the early 90s. Still, it was only a one-time event, and no known recordings could be located for decades. All that could be found was a short TV spot promoting the special.
Tonight, the man from Urkel, Jaleel White, stars in his own story of cinematic romance. With Vanessa Williams' assist, Little Richard as his psychic, Nell Carter as the principal, and Urkel as himself.
However, suddenly in January of 2025, a YouTube account by the name of Pause Stop Eject Videos uploaded the entire special to YouTube, where it can still be watched today.
Yo, I need to check that out.
Invincible,
Because I love Family Matters. And Jaleel White is always a delight.
Motion comic.
Stand ready for my arrival, worm.
Oh boy, I've been aching to talk about this one. Even before it ended up kind of being found, being a huge fan of Invincible and all, especially with the absolute
I still need to watch Invincible.
Finale, if you know, you know. But anyways, Invincible definitely wasn't always this mainstream, less popular than Kirkman's other work, The Walking Dead, of course, which at this point hadn't even been adapted by AMC and became a household name.
And I am way behind on The Walking Dead AMC show.
And was relatively niche. This is like the mid to late 2000s we're talking about right now. So when Invincible actually got a motion comic adaptation in 2008 on MTV, it sort of flew under the radar. This is before AMC would create the Walking Dead
And Goth
TV
is
show
my
in 2010,
favorite
mind you.
YouTuber and
6
Twitch
episodes ended
streamer.
up being produced for MTV Mobile, but was also available on iTunes. Anybody remember that? As well as Xbox Live and even Amazon. However, of course, at some point, the series was taken down and became lost media. Obviously, well before anything was in the works at Amazon in regards to the animated series. Only brief clips were available as well as a few images. Until Instagram user @GeekStuffGT found all 6 of the lost episodes this year.
I meant
after
it, you
getting on
make
an
me
old
laugh
iPod,
and felt
which
funny
takes me back to the
inside.
Stone Age.
Well,
of
I'm
course,
happy
this isn't
to
exactly the
entertain
best
you as
quality to
such.
find this in. I mean, it's essentially just cam footage of
hope
their
to continue
iPod,
that.
but I guess it's better than nothing. I gotta say, the voice actor for Mark is pretty good. He honestly sounds pretty similar to Steven Yeun as well.
Really ruined my afternoon. Well, now that
Dark Castle MSX port. Dark Castle, originally released back in 1986 for the Macintosh, is an old-school platforming puzzle title developed by Silicon Beach Software, in which you play as Prince Duncan and have to navigate
Thanks
different
for the
areas of a
best stream,
castle
I am
while avoiding
enjoying
traps
it.
and solving puzzles.
I'm glad.
You know, the usual affair. The game was most notoriously covered by the Angry Video Game Nerd in this review of the Sega Genesis version of the game. Another version was quietly released exclusively in Japan for the MSX computer back in 1993 and was sold only on floppy disks and later became quite obscure and later lost media entirely. Until in March of 2025, a user named Trev Gauntlet New was able to find and purchase the game from a Japanese game store and later provided us with not only screenshots and gameplay footage, but also an archived copy which can be downloaded and played today.
Cool. Good on you,
Shantae
buddy.
Advance, Risky Revolution. Developed and released in 2002 for the Game Boy Color by WayForward, Shantae was a platformer starring the eponymous character as you traverse Sequin Land on an adventure to stop a pirate named Risky Boots, all the while unlocking new abilities such as unique dances and the ability to turn into different animals. The game was planned to have a sequel in 2003, despite the original game being commercially a flop, even though it did
I
receive
finished
quite
Conan and
favorable reviews.
T1000
This sequel
Immortal.
was going to be released on the
Combat
Game Boy
1.
Advance and went
Nice.
under a
Good
few
job.
working titles, such as Shantae 2 and simply Shantae Advance. Unfortunately, the game was cancelled after a publisher for the title could not be found, thanks to the poor sales of the original. However, quite a bit of development was completed for the game, which was going to feature even more abilities, such as flight, and even the ability to switch seamlessly between the foreground and backgrounds of the maps, and was also meant to include a 4-player co-op mode. Despite the game being cancelled, a demo from 2004 was known to exist, as co-creator of the series, Matt Bozon, played through it on Twitch back in 2014, although no copy was available for the public to play, as he wasn't able to release it due to legal concerns. Shockingly though, almost a decade later, it was revealed that the game was still being worked on in 2023, and was going to be finished and released under the publisher Limited Run Games, who specialize in indie and more low-profile physical media releases. And in this year, in 2025, the full game was released for the Game Boy Advance, as well as the Nintendo Switch. But not only was the game released 2 decades after it was first announced, but the original demo from 2004 was also recovered and uploaded to the Internet Archive and is also available to be played. Jumper and Singing Simon. Jumper and Singing Simon, created in 1988 by Sean Johnson, was an edutainment VHS program for young kids and
toddlers. Do you like Young Raiden or Dark Raiden?
As Jumper the Frog and Singing Simon, featuring, you guessed it, Jumper the Talking Frog and his human companion, Singing Simon. This show was quite obscure and pretty short-lived, as just a few years later, some of its ideas and concepts were recycled into a different children's show in 1990, titled Eco, You, and Simon 2, which featured the same character from Jumper and Singing Simon. The tape was so obscure that no screenshots or footage could be found of it for years, until
next
finally
season
this
is
year,
Dark
in 2025, fellow Lost Media YouTuber El Supersonic Q managed to track it down and upload it to his second channel, where it can still be watched today. Also, El Supersonic Q made a whole video deep diving into the search for this lost show that almost no one had heard about or thought was real until it was eventually found. Thomas and Friends Pitch Pilot.
Whoa.
Thomas and Friends,
of
based on the
Invasions.
Railway series books by Wilbert Awdry, this British children's series ran from 1984 all the way until 2021 and was a huge part of people's childhoods, both abroad and at home in the UK. The series was initially conceived in 1979 by Britt
Are you
Allcroft,
drinking or
testing
eating?
and developing a low-budget pitch pilot
Neither at the
using
moment.
live-action model animation, which would be finally shown to networks in April of 1983. This pilot was never actually released, due to the series getting a different first episode in 1984 on the ITV network. This was known as Thomas and Gordon in the UK, or Thomas Gets Tricked in the US, rather than Down the Mine, which was the pitch pilot episode, and was later created into the 26th broadcast episode, at least in the UK. The pitch pilot version was, however, slightly different, including many of the models which were said to be more simplistic in design and had quite a few faults, such as some of the eyes actually leaking smoke and moving during some of the shots, something that was fixed in the debut broadcast episode. There was also quite a bit of concept art, as well as images of the actual models used themselves. There are a few images from the production, including one which was found by Lost Media YouTuber Sewer Reviewer, who obtained it from an
In
anonymous
this one,
source.
the trains can't
And in May of
speak.
2025, to celebrate the 80th anniversary of this franchise, a digitized and recreated version of the original pilot was uploaded officially to the Thomas and Friends YouTube channel. Super
I think
Mario
they do.
Big Star
It's
Secret.
just the narrator
Can't believe
quoting
I'm
them.
saying this, but yes, Super Mario Big Star Secret was finally found. Well, not fully, but sort of, partially found anyway, but still worth talking about. If you haven't heard of this before, it's a rather huge search that's been going on for quite some time in the Lost Media community in regards to an infamous Screamer video uploaded to
no, not
YouTube
that.
back in August of 2007, known as Super Mario 64 Big Star Secret, that would later be deleted and never seen again. It became quite a popular topic in the community, thanks to the efforts of a dedicated
I can hear a
subgroup
nosy in
and a
the
guy
background.
named Marvel, who made a documentary on the hunt for this lost Mario jump scare video.
That's probably
the video
my
itself was described as being a 5-minute long Windows Movie Maker production, with scrolling text informing the viewer on a fake way to unlock Luigi in the game, following a series of convoluted steps inside of the castle, before abruptly cutting to the infamous zombie jump scare that was used in many a Screamer video back in the day, but most famously this commercial.
Why the hell would
I'm
you
sure
want to
probably
find a
recognize
Screamer?
this
I would
just
be
from the background
perfectly
alone.
fine if
The
those
community
just
was able to get
got
in contact
left,
with the original uploader,
you know,
who recalled certain
in the
elements of
dust.
the video, but sadly did not have it in their possession.
left
the only known
in
footage
the
of the video at this
mid-2010s.
time was a reaction video called
Please.
Little Brother Getting Scared Late Reaction,
Please?
which showed low-resolution footage of the video, but only partially.
Like,
Another
that's not
breakthrough
funny.
was made in 2024 thanks to another reaction video being found, this time which showed about 40 seconds of Big Star Secret, albeit also in poor quality. However, in a shocking twist of events, in May of 2025, footage of the first 47 seconds of the video were found on a Lost Media Wiki user's temp folder in their hard drive, which somehow backed up thousands upon thousands of old YouTube videos on a very old Windows XP PC, this being one of them. However, that still left over 4 minutes of the video still lost, and the jump scare itself remains
Fuck off,
elusive.
Andrew Tate. You
But
smoke
at least
cigars.
gives hope that one day this whole thing could eventually be found, especially with how seemingly dedicated people are to this specific case.
And also your sex offender for the trafficking shit. He's not gonna actually show it, is he? Because yeah. I don't want to see that, dude.
Top G is a bad man, he is a bad man.
Tip off NES port.
Okay, good. He didn't show it.
Okay, so I'm kind of running out of things to talk about a little bit. So here we have a now found but originally lost canceled build of an Amiga game for the NES. It was originally released in 1991 for the Amiga, Atari ST, and Game Boy by Onco Software, and was a 16-bit basketball title. The game overall is pretty standard, but I do kind of find it weird that they wanted to release this game on the NES.
I don't know how to get rid of Top G for my mind.
SNES, Genesis, and Amiga, so it's likely this port to the NES was going to be based on the game for the Game Boy, but was never actually finished and never got past early development, and even still, it was found in April of 2025. A floppy disk with the source code and an early build was located and released by the gaming website Games That Weren't on April 21st, 2025. Cyber Soldier Shiraku. One of the last pieces of media we're going to talk about in this volume, a Japanese exclusive CDI game from 1993. The game was a point-and-click adventure title taking place in the far future, focusing on the Galactic Federation and cyber soldiers that were waking up to their human consciousness. Because of the complete failure that was the CDI, this game did not sell well, and was region-locked to Japan, making it not only obscure, but also rare and hard to come by just a few years after it was released. It wasn't until April of 2025 that Lost Media Wiki user Shiroe NL actually found a copy of the game and dumped it on the Internet Archive, where it is finally now playable. The game is also mostly cutscenes and QuickTime events, so a walkthrough can also be watched on YouTube. Jimmy Two Shoes Test Pilot. Created by Sean Scott and Edward Kay, and running from 2009 to 2011 for 2 seasons and 52 episodes, the series followed the character of Jimmy, a young boy living in the town of Miseryville, who goes about his life happily, while everyone else around him is miserable.
It's
well,
fine.
Before the show aired,
You're
a
here
6-minute pitch pilot was created in 2006, which was much different from the final product, as the show was originally intended for much more mature audiences, at least conceptually, with the series being set in hell, which now it makes a lot more sense why everyone else is miserable and Jimmy is sort of happy-go-lucky. With the character of Heloise also originally being a serial killer, and Heinous the Devil literally being Lucifer. The original plot of the pilot was rumored to feature Jimmy helping an old lady cross the street and dying in the process, and is sent to hell for being mistaken for a thief as he's hit by a car while picking up the old lady's wallet. However, the concept of hell and character designs were all cut down and toned down, with the concepts being reworked into a more children-friendly show before it ended up being greenlit. In May of 2025, this test pilot animation was uploaded in full by one of the co-creators, Edward Kay, to his personal YouTube channel. The episode is a lot more chill than you might expect, and not all that creepy and different from the actual show. But what is strange is how the pilot was actually acquired, as it wasn't just posted by the co-creator who had it all this time. According to him, in the description of this video, he claims, quote, I still don't know who
TV
sent it
show
to me.
is this?
A DVD arrived literally on my doorstep with
Jimmy
no note
Two
or address.
Shoes? I've
Someone
never heard
obviously
of it.
just felt I should have it. They were probably afraid that there would be legal liabilities for sharing it, since everyone who had a copy had to sign a legal document saying they would not distribute it, hence the anonymity. I, however, never
Neither
had to
have
sign any such document, since I was never officially given one. So, here it is. A pretty odd way for a piece of lost media to be found, and sounds more akin to something that would happen in a creepypasta, but I guess we'll take it.
Join us now on Patreon so you can get...
Whoa, 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 whoa. That was the end of that video.
Goth was just telling us about why Top G is a bad man.
Yeah, they're talking about Andrew Tate.
Who is Top G?
I guess he's talking about Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Andrew Shate. And the meme he made about stopping people vaping.
Yeah, I was basically telling him to fuck off, because not only does he smoke cigars, but he's also, like, in trouble for sex trafficking, so he's got no room to talk.
I don't smoke or vape and give zero fucks if anyone else
For
does.
today's video, I wanted to talk about
to know.
something that seems to have flown under the radar for a lot of Jurassic Park fans over the last few years. But the news broke about it way back when David Leitch was first announced as the original director for Jurassic World Rebirth. So, according to the insider Jeff Snyder, there was a pretty big problem that went down after Jurassic World came out and became a mega hit, grossing $1.67 billion
If they do
back
good
in
for them.
2015. If the information we're about to go over today actually happened and this other
Ads
movie got
interrupted
made,
again.
it would have changed the franchise in some pretty massive ways. We're talking about an alternate Jurassic Park 5, a sequel to Jurassic World by none of the people that made that movie. So just imagine a world where there was no Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Whether you like the film or not, that movie and everything that happened after it, including Jurassic World Dominion, Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, Chaos Theory, and everything else was just completely gone, because instead, Colin Trevorrow doesn't come back to make the sequel to Jurassic World, and someone else goes ahead and releases a brand new film that went in a totally different direction. So what are the details in this alternate sequel to Jurassic World? Well, according to Jeff Snyder, Universal Pictures and Amblin Entertainment executives were extremely shocked and upset to find out that Legendary, the studio that helped produce Jurassic World, and Gareth Edwards' Godzilla, by the way, had allegedly massively overstepped in commissioning a script treatment for another Jurassic Park movie. The film in question would have followed up the last movie, but it's unclear if it would have been a mainline chapter or something more like a spin-off film. I guess comparatively we could compare it to maybe Rogue One or something, but whatever it was, the film was going to be following up Jurassic World with a very different kind of product than what I can imagine Colin Trevorrow, Derek Connolly,
Did you see the
anyone
new
would have delivered in
Fantastic
their own
Four
trilogy,
trailer?
because they wouldn't have even been involved. There's no volcano that's going off yet. No dinosaurs have been released on the mainland. And the last thing we saw would have been the T-Rex roaring on Isla Nublar after everyone was evacuated. I gotta say, it's a pretty interesting place to start a sequel. Legendary had helped finance Jurassic World, so they went ahead and started working on the next movie. Of course, this didn't sit well with the people that actually own the rights to the Jurassic Park franchise, and I guess they got really upset over Legendary even thinking they would have the audacity to do such a thing. But I can't help but wonder what it was that this film was even supposed to be. There's like literally no information that has been released to the public just yet on its plot. And the reason it's so interesting is because Jurassic World's sequel would most certainly have tried to carry on with what made that film successful. So you've got Owen and Claire at the very least, and maybe right after the park fell in 2015, what could they have even done? And look, it's before all the focus was on Blue as a somewhat friendlier velociraptor that we saw emphasized in the next couple of movies. So it all just leaves a bunch of wild possibilities in the air as to what direction Legendary Pictures would have produced their own sequel and how that could have gone. And keep in mind that this sequel was being fast-tracked while the unreleased Jurassic World tie-in video game was still in talks to possibly come out. I mean, we waited for that for years and it still got canceled. Everything around this time was honed in on an abandoned Isla Nublar where the dinosaurs had retaken the island, and the idea of a follow-up to the Indominus Rex was looming in the background of the loose ends that the 2015 movie were teasing for its own sequel. Could they have gotten Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard to come back with a team of engine guys to go over what was salvageable from the theme park? And where was the smaller Indominus creature supposed to be? What about Dr. Henry Wu? Would he have
My
factored
friends,
into this
welcome
new
to
product,
Jurassic
or would
World.
Legendary have given us a brand new cast and made something more like Kong Skull Island or Rogue One? I mean, we really don't know. There's literally no information. What we do know is that Legendary commissioned a sequel for Jurassic World. Spielberg's company and everybody were like, get out of here. We're making that. In fact, how dare you? Now, I did find one article that included a comment where Legendary came into a meeting with Steven Spielberg after already ordering a new spinoff from Jurassic World. And
it was from the first movie
Universal
saying,
and Amblin were like, what the... You're here to pay for these movies. You're not like we are. We make these movies. Legendary did not exist when Jurassic Park came out, which I think is a little funny, and I don't really know how much of that is accurate, like if this actually is what they said, like at a meeting, by the way. But needless to say, they were apparently super upset at Legendary even trying to make a sequel without their permission. So whether it was a spinoff or just a follow-up to Jurassic World, they let them know they own the rights to Jurassic Park, and now that Jurassic World had just become one of the biggest movies of all time, they were not going to let anyone take control of the ship. I mean, you got to keep in mind, guys, that during the summer of 2015, the only two movies that made more money than Jurassic World at that time in the history of films were Avatar and Titanic. Jurassic World really was a mega hit, like a gigantic hit, and it caused a lot of eyes to go back onto the Jurassic Park brand again for the first time in over a decade. I can just imagine what it was like sitting down in that room with like Steven Spielberg and Legendary coming in like, hello, Mr. Spielberg, we've got a script treatment for Jurassic Park 5, and the whole company being just cussing them out of the room. Like, I don't know if this is actually what went down, but this is the information that's, been released. So look, if Universal or Amblin, like, did they even read the script that Legendary had commissioned? Because it looks like they were so angry at someone even trying to do something like this that they threw down the gauntlet as soon as possible, which just makes me wonder, like, what kind of movie was this going to be? What kind of alternate universe would it have set up if they made the sequel to Jurassic World instead of Colin Trevorrow and Derek Connolly? Like, what kind of plot do you go with after the end of Jurassic World? Do you go back to Site B? Do you start off with a smaller scale mission-based movie, or maybe do something with Owen and Claire involving a completely different follow-up to the 2015 film? Did they do that Trespasser 2 plot with Billy Brennan? I mean, I doubt that. But personally, I think it would have made enough sense to just have most of those characters from Jurassic World return immediately after the fall of the park, where like Masrani and Engine were just trying to collect as many of their own assets as possible for some kind of bailout for the company. Maybe like a movie focused on a group of people there to extract animals like in the Lost World Jurassic Park, but played up in a very different angle, locate missing assets, coordinate containment services, and work on relocating them to some other place, and even do a Uno reverse where Biosyn or somebody shows up and both companies go to war over the dinosaurs. It's just a random idea I have, by the way. We have no clue what this unmade movie would have been like, but I'm guessing it would have looked very different from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. In fact, even if they just stayed on the island for the whole movie and had the Indoraptor like already there and get loose on the island while it's been in containment on Nublar, it would have made for a very different sequel. I mean, it sounds an awful lot like Jurassic World Rebirth, actually. One thing I'm going to say, when it comes to this Fallout, more than likely, this did impact the future of the Jurassic World trilogy in a big way, because Legendary actually did come back to help them produce Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. But after that, they completely dipped out, and Jurassic World Dominion did not have any involvement from Legendary at all. So I'm guessing this whole situation might have been the start of something that led to their exit on the Jurassic World trilogy. And whatever the truth may be, there is an entire Jurassic World script treatment for a sequel that is out there somewhere with absolutely no input from Colin Trevorrow, Derek Connolly, or even Steven Spielberg that was trying to get made, and they pitched it to the company like after the fourth movie was such a success, and yeah, they were like hard no. I've got no idea who wrote it or what it looked like, but now that we're 10 years out from this happening, maybe we could see the script treatment sometime in the future. I would love to just see what it was like. I have a feeling it would have read like the Chaos Continues Super Nintendo game, but you know, no evidence, man. We have nothing. We just know that an insider told us that this is something that went down. But hey guys, what do all of you think? What are your own thoughts and opinions on this information? How different would the Jurassic Park universe be if there was an alternate sequel to Jurassic World? I think we can all agree at the bare minimum, even if it was a spinoff, we would be looking at a very different trajectory for the brand. But hey, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear all about them in the comments down below. Now, before I go, I want to thank everyone that's helped me build my channel over the years. I'd also like to thank every one of you guys who've watched my stuff.
Alright, it's getting kind of late, so I think I'm gonna call it for tonight. So, thank you guys so much for joining on this Saturday Chill stream, and be sure to tune in tomorrow for the Spooky Sundays. And remember, we're Twitch affiliate now, so, you know, subscribe and all that. Let's, you know, I'm gonna, Goodbye. I'm going to, get, you know, all the emotes and all that stuff. I'm gonna gradually get those, fixed up. So, yeah. So yeah, Twitch homepage has, or my Twitch page, I should say, has my YouTube and my Discord link, so please come join us. And, well, yeah, pretty much it. Oh, yeah, let's see if there's anybody to raid. Hang on. Who's live? Tricky Wee is live. Chibi Doki. Let's see. Oh wait, I spelled that wrong. Ah, okay.
What do we say to the raider?
Well, hang on, I gotta find somebody to raid first.
Do we have a raid target?
Hold on, y'all. I'm finding one. Hold your horses. Okay, no, it doesn't look like I got anybody I can raid right now, so... we'll just call it, so...
Not yet, Merc. Oh, I have one.
Oh, you do? Who's that?
Cat Plant playing Rizzo.
Alright, one sec. Oh, I see them. They're even dressed like Rebecca. That's cute. Alright then. I don't know. I don't really have anything clever to say. Unless y'all can come up with something.
What's the raid message gonna be?
I don't know.
What what you all used when you raised me that one day?
Oh wait, I've got one.
You will burn by hand.
No, I got one.
You will burn by hand. Okay, that works.
No, no, no. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I haven't decided yet, or I'm making one.
Do you have the Mexia tape?
That's what we'll say. Alright. So, copy that so you can paste it in the chat.
Put the raid on.
I've got it. Her channel's on a damn ad.
Copy that. Paste it in the chat, over and out.
Alright, see you guys. Love you.